Hey, it's Lisa with Soulshine, and I'm continuing with the deep dive into love. It's month 2, kindness. Last week I talked about kindness to self, and we started this little heart trend, and we're going to continue the trend of love into kindness towards others. So I'm going to dive right in. I want to start with a story I learned of from my mom. When she was passing away, she was in palliative care in a hospital that she had attended for 25 plus years. She was a nurse in maternity. So the other nurses treated her with the most divine respect and gentle touch, except this one nurse that arrived on Christmas Day. And she was grumpy and didn't want to be there, eyes cast down, gruff, just didn't want to help at all. And just as I was rearing up my shackles to say something to her or report it, my mom kind of softly whispered, "There's always a reason." And so Mom did her thing, and the lady helped get her back to bed, and my mom so gracefully asked her what her Christmas Day plans were. And the nurse responded very slowly that her husband was in a different hospital, not doing very well, and they couldn't be together that day. And we could tell that she was very worried about him. He clearly was not very well. And my mom, just after she had listened intently to the nurse tell her story, and the nurse went on her way, she gave me that almost "I told you so" look, and confirmed there's always a reason. And it was my mom showing her unconditional love that day. If I had yelled at her or corrected her or called her out, it really would have done nothing to soften the edges that very frail, ill version of my mom quickly opened up by a simple question and a hearty ear. So that kind of love is the love I'm digging deep into this year. That's the kind of love I want more of. My own version is so much watered down than that kind of love. I'm famous for withdrawing love if I feel wronged, looking the other way out the window for hours because I feel like you've disrespected me, or we've gotten to an argument that's just going nowhere, withdrawing into another space in my house just to get away, which is healthy sometimes, don't get me wrong, but it's not unconditional. It's watered down, it's expectation. It's, I expect this and you'll get this in return for me. And that's this, I almost said a curse word, sorry. It's a crappy version of love. It's watered down, it's faulty, fake, tinny, rusty, rotten. I don't want that anymore. So the unconditional love that I'm searching for is no expectation. You give it freely because more is there to give. The person that's getting it hasn't earned it. There's no expectation that they're even going to receive it, but you give it anyway. Simply because that's what you should do. There's no return, there's no reward that you're gonna get. But the crazy thing is, it does come back to you tenfold. Not often and always in the place that you give it and deposit it. Sometimes it comes from somebody else on a different day. But that person is the recipient of it in that moment. And I can only imagine the ripples that it causes from the people that are seeing it, from the person that's receiving it, and even in yourself and just giving it. And what that love looks like can be so different. It can be so small and it can be so big. Simply my mom asking that nurse that day a question. And then the first thing was just the question. And the second layer of love was the actual listening. She actually listened to what was going on in her life. And I know I don't do both very well. I I get busy in my own little ways and I forget to ask the hard questions, or I'm afraid to ask the hard questions. And then I don't listen well for the response because I'm trying to queue up what I'm going to ask next. To love well almost looks like slowing down a good bit and listening and being present and responding in a way that shows you were listening to begin with. And then not knowing where that love is going to go, not expecting that person in that moment to treat you exactly the same way that you are currently treating them. You don't know what that love deposit's going to look like. Maybe they'll go home and not hit their kid that day, or not cry themselves to sleep. You just don't know what their current baggage load is or tipping point. But what I do know is that when you give that kind of love, that unconditional love, it returns tenfold to you. And not often and always in the place that you're giving it, but sometimes it comes from a completely different place, a different person, a different situation, a different aspect of your life that will give that love to you in the exact moment that you need it. Love is crazy like that. I know that that's out there, and I know that's the kind of love that I want to live. It's lavish, it's vibrant, it's abundant and prosperous, it's big. It's not meant to be hidden. It's not meant to be kept for myself. It's not meant to be sprinkled sporadically over just the people that look like me or act like me or talk like me or have the same political viewpoints as me. It's worthy of everyone equally, regardless of where their stance is, regardless of what they think about any topic or the way they've been raised, where they come from, what color is their skin, whatever their gender is. It's just love, and it's free, and there's no reason to hold it back. That's the kind of love that I'm digging for here. So this week, with kindness to others, I'm going to keep using my little heart as a reminder to myself to keep being kind to myself, but also to be kind to others. Look for opportunities to listen better, to slow down, to not judge or assume or filter your love. Now, I do know that there's situations where healthy love does feel strong. Love isn't a doormat, and it's not an enabler, and it's not a pushover. Parenting is a great example. You can be both hard and soft in showing love, and it has to be the same and consistent. Or even like abusive situations, there's clearly a hard way to love somebody that's taking advantage of you. And sometimes that love looks like distance. Maybe you safely need to get away from that situation. But pour it out lavishly. That person that is hurting you, is hurting others, there's a reason for it. And it's only our pride that makes us not ask. That person just needs the extra dose of love. Hurt people hurt others. And my task is to use the heart to just listen more and be more compassionate. Love on each other well, love on yourself well. And it could look as something as small as a eye contact and a smile, holding a door, a hand on someone's shoulder, a hug. Not everybody likes hugs. I do. Or it could be big. It could be taking somebody a meal. It could be knocking on a door and asking if your neighbor's really okay. I don't know what it looks like, but I know you're getting some sort of a prompting in your heart to do something little or big, I suggest you do it and not keep squashing it, because we all have an opportunity to put more love into the world. And if we fail at the end of the day, that's a missed opportunity to love someone well. And that's not cool. So every time that mean girl at work or at school is pushing your buttons, whatever they may be, I want you to look down at your little heart. Be confident in who you are. Not a pushover, but love them. Give them a smile. Whatever it takes.